Hi, I am just interrupting today's podcast because I have some things I want to update you on. And because you are here listening to the podcast, you deserve to be the first ones to know what is going on in this space. So if you haven't heard, we have live workshops happening between now and July. We have incredible topics to help you in your daily life, ranging from nervous system regulation to helping ourselves with RSD, to discovering our strengths and working to them, to hormones, to family dynamics. I'm really covering a big variety of different topics to help you in daily life. You can buy the All Access Pass, which gives you access to the past recordings and all the future ones. You get reminders and you get some discounts with that. We have the book that is out on pre-order now, the ADHD Women's Wellbeing Toolkit is available. Please pre-order it through the website and you will get some freebies, some free gifts, especially for this, plus discounts on all my resources on the website. And finally, I am in the middle of creating probably my most exciting product to date. It's a new membership. It's low cost. It's accessible. It's a membership that I would want to be part of. It's for you if you are just discovering your ADHD, or perhaps you've had a recent diagnosis and want a place to process it, a safe space, to touch base every month, to hear from me, to offer you lots of advice and guidance in a really non-overwhelming way. This is going to be about quality over quantity. It's going to be about connection, support, community. It's going to have my vibe all over it. So if it's something that you are interested in and you want something really accessible, really hand-holding, kind, supportive, compassionate, all those things, I really hope that you will check this out. All you have to do is put your name down on the wait list. We are launching in September, but anyone who has their name down on the wait list gains access to the founding members price. That means that you will be locked into this founding members price. And from September, anyone that signs up afterwards, the price will go up. So I hope all of this information is of interest. Everything is on my website, adhdwomenswellbeing.co.uk, and you'll get all the information there. I'm going to let you go and listen to the rest of today's episode. Here it is. So hi everyone, welcome back to another wisdom episode. I'm here to bring further knowledge and expertise and understanding from maybe past episodes, past guests, and also bring you some new insightful information as well. And I'm delighted to welcome back the final clip, the final part of the messaging from our Ask The Psych episodes. Now, I brought in Dr. Asad Rafi because he is a clinical lead on ADHD. He's a psychiatrist and he's working every single day trying to help and better the lives of people with ADHD. He is assessing, he is diagnosing, and he is at the forefront of trying to make the different connections between brain, body, presentations of ADHD. And the reason why I wanted to bring Dr. Raffi onto the podcast is because it's so vital that we're understanding from a psychiatrist what he's seeing every single day in his clinic, but also, I guess, his reflections and how we can start making this process better, how he sees the future with regards to neurodivergence and all the different ways it shows up alongside the very typical ways of ADHD. So it's really fascinating to be able to bring his insights and his expertise into this. And we'll be speaking to Dr. Raffi again. We've got a lot more questions. We only really touched the sides, but I'm glad to be able to bring his insights because I think it's so important, especially if you are waiting a diagnosis, if you've not been able to be assessed or be diagnosed, to be able to get this advice and this understanding from a top ADHD psychiatrist, I think is vital. So in this conversation, we discuss ADHD's evolving understanding and we focus on the alternatives to medication, such as neurofeedback, which does lack the evidence. We're not getting the research, but also to understand what that is and potentially what other treatments we've got if medication isn't an option or if you are not seeking an official diagnosis. Maybe you just want to be able to help yourself from a lifestyle and well-being perspective. And also we talk about the societal views of ADHD and encouraging this sort of acceptance that we need to see across the board in schools, but also in work, in families, in relationships, and hopefully empowering more people to step into their potential with regards to careers and employment, because we are seeing too many people fall through the cracks. So I really hope that you enjoy this episode with Dr. Asad Rafi, and I will speak to you all very soon. We're evolving all the time with this understanding of ADHD. And I'd be very interested to have this conversation with you, hopefully in 10 years, 5 years' time, because we're going to see such a fast evolution in this area. And I wanted to ask you about what your thoughts are with neurofeedback, because I'm hearing a lot about this with ADHD. And I wondered, if people are resistant to medication, they've tried medication, it's not worked for them, they don't like the way it makes them feel, they would prefer to lean into other non-medication routes. What is your thought on neurofeedback? And are we only at the beginning of understanding this?
I don't necessarily think we're at the beginning of understanding neurofeedback. If we boil this down to what does the evidence base look like, there isn't sufficient evidence or compelling evidence to say that neurofeedback, brain mapping also, all of these elements have sufficient evidence to warrant it being a treatment or a management strategy for ADHD. It might be one of those things that actually give you some benefits, some of those marginal gains, which may well supplement the other things that we're doing as well. It's going back to those basics. Do the basics well. In terms of neurofeedback, yes, I don't think there's sufficient evidence. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. I'm going to sit slightly on the fence. It's something that certainly has interested me. It's fascinated me. But you see people who are doing great work, who are really kind of pushing the boundaries, the early adopters. Something that kind of aligns close to neurofeedback may well be some of the work that Dr. Daniel Amen does over in the US, using SPECT scans and looking at that, functional neuroimaging, helping people to understand how their brains are working and where those challenges or difficulties may well be in certain parts of the brain. And that's really helpful. The problem is that it's not accessible. It's expensive. And, I've inquired about things like, is it possible to get a SPECT scan done for this particular indication? And unfortunately, here in the UK, not many people are aware of it or have an understanding of it. And, I'm not going to purport to be anywhere near as good as Daniel Amen or what he does. He's one of these early adopters and has certainly changed the face of helping people to understand ADHD, which, we can only thank him for.
Yeah. Can I just say, I think with the neuroimaging, it's probably bigger in the States, as things always are. I guess it's validating when we understand that there's a difference in our brain scans in the way our brain makeup is. And maybe not saying it's a deficiency as such, it's just a difference. And we can lean into understanding the brains who are differently made up, wired. And that then helps us kind of go, like, we've lived with this self-belief or these layers of like, we're wrong, we're broken, we're failed, we've got something wrong with us, like this sort of negative beliefs, but also like the feedback that we've been getting from other people. And we can finally say, okay, well, my brain's wired like this. This is why I do those certain things. I'm more impulsive. I struggle with decision making. I struggle, with my working memory, all these different things. And instead of it being something that we take on as like a negative or a deficiency, we can just adopt and curate a way of living that works for us. Like, we can choose careers. Like, how amazing would it be for our kids to be able to feel empowered by the knowledge of their brain and go, if I go to university and study for something that's going to be a desk job, that's not going to help, I'm not going to be able to move around. I'm going to be stuck behind a desk. I'm not going to be able to talk and do different things with different people. Like, that awareness, that knowledge will open the world up to them and help them lean into all their potential and their good. But how amazing would it be for your 14-year-old daughter to say, right, I've got ADHD, my brain's wired like this. I'm actually going to start looking at a course that helps me do this. I'm going to get a job that I can thrive in. I'm going to live a life that feels good to me. And that's just the normal way of living.
What we can do is determine and influence what happens moving forward. Because, as I said before, we're now living longer. We also want to not just improve our lifespans. We want to improve our health span as well. So we want to live longer, but healthier lives. And surely by understanding what this condition is and how it impacts you in terms of the decision making, in terms of your mental health, your physical health, that's only going to be a good thing. But if we don't manage ADHD, we know that lifespan can cut short. Life expectancy can reduce by almost 8 years. There's a significant impact because of choices that we make on our cardiovascular health, some of the addictive behaviors that we might engage in, obesity. Type 2 diabetes is overrepresented in this population. I look at certain communities, my own community, I look at the Southeast Asian community, look at the BAME community in general, so the Black and ethnic minority communities, rates of type 2 diabetes, obesity, a huge, huge problem. And we know that, there's a significant link underlying with conditions like ADHD. And if we could actually manage the mental weight as well as the physical weight, this may well give us some answers. And as far as talking about, courses and ultimately finding your purpose in life, people ask me that question once they've been through that process. What should I do? What should I do for a career? And my simple response to them is the following: find something that you're good at, find something that you're interested in, and find something that you're passionate about. Not everyone finds it, and not everyone's going to find it at the age of 20 or 30. I didn't find it until maybe 10 years ago. My true calling in life, didn't find it. Okay. Been through various jobs, various disciplines within psychiatry and mental health. Loved what I did. It just didn't sustain me. And I'm sure from what I understand about your journey in marketing and PR, now being where you are today, you would never have thought that you would have ended up where you are today 20, 30, 40 years ago.
No. I mean, it's totally that. And, unfortunately, we do go through, listen, it's on the flip side, it is part of the learning process of life, isn't it? To have all these different incarnations, and we're learning as we grow. And I think if, at the age of 18, you find the thing that you love and you do for the rest of your life, it's very, very rare. And we do learn from kind of having to do a bit of a deep dive, or those sort of dark nights of the soul. And as difficult as it is to go through these challenges, it does build our resistance, and we get through, and so hopefully we get stronger from it. Not everybody, but, and I think what you just said then, for, just to hone in on a career perspective, it's really helpful, and I think is very validating for people if they're in a career right now that doesn't feel like they fit. And I had someone in one of my group sessions not that long ago who was in her 60s, and she was ready. She was ready to start a whole new career. She wanted to be a travel journalist. She wanted to write blogs about traveling in the 60s on her own type thing. I was like, that's amazing, do it. And then she started like leaning into all these things. She loved playing piano. She's like, you know what, I'm going to go and play piano in the care homes. That really fulfills me. And so it's just kind of saying, like, do I want to conform to what things are meant to look like, or shall I just take a bit of a risk and do the things that light me up? Because I think, like you say, with ADHD, we need that. We need it. On the flip side, we've also got to look at are we overworking? Are we becoming overproductive? Are we putting our sense of self into our career? And that kind of that dopamine that we get from constantly working. I struggle with it as well, Asad. I really have to pull back from working. I work at the weekends because I'm trying to catch up, as a mum and everything. But I actually enjoy it. And so I go into my office for a couple of hours. I get time away from the kids, away from the house. I do what I love. It fulfills me, but I have to really watch out for burnout. I have to watch out for being depleted. And, after this, we're recording for a while. I'm going to go and take the dog and walk, because if I don't, I know that the rest of my day I'll be broken by the end of the day. So we have to put these little things in place. And I always see understanding our ADHD is constantly tweaking and changing and being dynamic with our days, with our plans, looking at our diaries. And unfortunately for us, we can't drop the ball, because when we drop the ball, like you say, our eating goes out the window. We realize we've not exercised all week. Our mood, our dysregulation, our anger, irritability, like everything. It's impacted by whether we have looked after ourselves. And I do feel that us as a community, it is an extra weight on us, isn't it? Like some people, mostly neurotypical people, they can just like operate and just get through life and things just don't really impact them. And they just, whereas us, we've got sensitive nervous systems. We have got to constant, even hydrating. I've always got a glass of water in front of me because I know if I don't hydrate, something happens. Like I just something in my brain just switches off. So these little things. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this shorter episode of the ADHD Women's Wellbeing podcast. I've called it the ADHD Women's Wellbeing Wisdom because I believe there's so much wisdom in the guests that I have on and their insights. So sometimes we just need that little bit of a reminder, and I hope that has helped you today, and look forward to seeing you back on the brand new episode on Thursday. Have a good rest of your week.